Hi, Miss Vic.
So again, we'll get started in just a couple minutes. We have some that's okay, Amy. Eat your lunch. Enjoy. Haven't had mine just yet. I was in meetings all morning, and then I was thrown for a loop when I went for a little house walk, and it was snowing outside. It's like, are you kidding me? What is Mother Nature thinking? So it set me off a little bit. I didn't eat my lunch. Yesterday was literally sweating because it was so hot, and then today it has the nerve to snow. So I don't know what Maryland is thinking. We have some serious bipolar weather around here. Great. Thank you guys for dropping your names in the chat. I appreciate that. We have about 1 minute. We're going to get started. I do like to respect our time, so we'll get started right on time. I am dropping a link in the chat if you guys have noticed. It's just a document, kind of a working planning document. There's no presentation for this. We want this to be pretty informal for our students. Essentially, it has contact information for our guest speakers, and then it has some resource websites that could be helpful for you guys. It also has the questions that we're going to loosely follow. It's another me popping in. Good morning, Ellen.
Hey, how are you? Hold on one second. Okay, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah.
So, my friend that also has my same name, if you don't mind just changing your name for me, I guess when I sent you that link, it was a link specifically for me. And so we had a lot of Shannon McKenzie's on here, which I could use another me. That, to be honest, that would be helpful. I'm sure you all could agree with that too. You could use another you. In the chat, I am just dropping, it's just like the planning document. It's a very informal kind of Google Doc that has the questions and then contact information for all of our friends. So what we're seeing, so those of you that are here to help facilitate, is that I have you're seeing names on the screen. Some of these names are teacher names, and what they're doing is they're projecting this session out to their students. So their students are kind of in a classroom, and so they will just come up and come up to the computer and come off of mute to ask questions a little bit later. But it worked for them to kind of just have their students come to their space and sort of zoom it out to them rather than having all of them individually log into their Zooms. I think there are a few that have zoomed in, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you guys so much for coming today. Again, we are here to talk about how to pay for college. Really hot topic, right? Nobody wants to think about the financial part of college. We all want to think about the fun stuff like our dorm decor and all that stuff. But there is there's that financial piece that we have to talk about. All of you high school students are interested in and looking at becoming teachers, which thank you for that. I know this is a hard decision for you. Maybe you haven't decided quite yet, but I would encourage you to follow that path, just because that is my
Okay.
Emily, is that
Yeah.
you? Did you have a question?
Okay.
Maybe not. Hold on, let me just mute some people here. Sorry. So you are at least considering becoming a teacher. So today, this is the How to Pay for College Future Teacher Edition. Okay. So what I've done is I've brought in some forces in this area that have some resources that really can help you become a teacher one day. And some of it involves planning from the high school point. You have to decide where you're going to go to the next step to become a teacher. So that's the whole idea of this session today. It is meant, so my facilitators with me here, we are speaking to high school students. Okay, so we want to consider that when we're talking about these programs that we have, they may not be necessarily and mostly thinking for USG in particular, directly from high school to USD, right, is not necessarily, it can be, can it be a track for some things? It can be a track, I think. But there's also some other programs where they can kind of transfer in. So we want to talk about maybe their planning in that process too. So another couple, Shannon McKenzie's just hopped on. And those of you that did, that did hop on as a Shannon McKenzie, if you can just change your name to your real name, because I sent you a link that apparently had my name attached to it. So that's my fault. I apologize for that. I don't know. I didn't know that that was a thing. I thought just you could always have your own name on there. But I appreciate seeing all the Shannon McKenzies out there. It's really great to see. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen just because that was just a little thing I did want to share one more time into the chat, this sort of planning document that will help guide our conversations. But when you open that up, you'll see at the very top, actually, I will share my screen to show you just this part. And students that are logged in in a school setting, I will send this email to your teachers to share with you as well. So at the top here, you will see that we have helpful sites. So some helpful sites for you when you're thinking about paying for college in general are going to be linked here. So we have the Teaching Fellows of Maryland Scholarship. We're going to talk about that. The Child Care Career and Professional Development Fund link, Maryland 16 community colleges. This is a web page that houses links to every community college in the state. And then Career and College Major Scholarships. That is a website page on the CollegeBound Foundation website, which Ellen is here from. And then we have the MHEC scholarship list, which is the Maryland Higher Education Commission scholarship list, which really is this encompasses every career, right? Every type of career and every type of scholarship, but still a good place to start, right? So when you're thinking about teaching, you want to think about as many scholarships as possible. Today, we are going to be talking mostly about things that are be helpful for people that want to be teachers, right? Not just general scholarships, but things that will help you become the teacher that you want to be and help you pay for that, okay? So I would like to start with, and I'll just call on you, but if you could just give a brief description about your program, your organization, kind of what you're representing and where you represent it from, and the role it plays in supporting future teachers. Maybe throw in there what makes your program unique compared to other funding opportunities for aspiring, students that will become teachers. So let's start with Brittany at MCPS. Brittany Ramey.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Brittany Ramey. I am the instructional specialist for higher education partnerships with MCPS. And what that big long title means is that number one, for anyone who wants to intern in Montgomery County Public Schools, for you all, that would be student teaching, but any sort of intern, they could be occupational therapy, school psychology. They all come through me and I work to get them a placement at MCPS. But the other thing that I do for our MCPS employees is that I connect them with higher education partnerships. So we have certain agreements with other colleges and universities so that our staff can get degrees. They can get an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree. I was so happy to see Professor Schnurr here because that is one of our partnerships and one of our very popular partnerships. Master's degrees, and even doctorate degrees. And what's really nice about our partnerships is that we give a reduced rate of tuition if you're an employee with us a lot of times. And Professor Schnurr will talk about this. MCPS will cover your entire tuition to get a bachelor's degree or an associate's degree. So you would just work for us. We pay for your degree. It's actually a very nice arrangement. And then if you want to continue going, you can. And I I think, Miss McKenzie, I answered everything. Was there anything I missed? Perfect. Oh, Miss McKenzie, you're muted.
Of course I am. Geez, I'm out of practice, right? Yes, no, that was perfect. Perfect. And I'm going to jump right to Jennifer to talk about her. The reason why I invited her here is partly in relation to that partnership at MCPS. So go ahead and answer that question for us.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Schnurr. I am the program director for Towson University at the universities at Shady Grove. So the reason I really want to highlight that is Brittany did a great job just a minute ago explaining about all of our partnerships. And if you've never been to the universities at Shady Grove, we are a satellite campus. Pretty much. We are a beautiful campus right off of Darnestown Road and Shady Grove Road, right in the middle of Montgomery County. And on our campus, we actually share the campus and the buildings with 9 different universities. So what makes us really unique is that while Towson has all of the education programs at the universities at Shady Grove, we're also on campus with criminal justice majors from the University of Maryland, hospitality degree candidates from Eastern Shore. So it's a really neat opportunity to earn your degree and stay in Montgomery County. So the way it really works for us at Towson is we have a partnership also with MCPS and also with Montgomery College, Frederick College, Howard, PG. We've all worked with all of our surrounding community colleges to help students earn their associate degree in teaching at a community college first. Lots of benefits to that with smaller class sizes, lower tuition. Oftentimes we want to stay home. Students aren't ready, they don't want the dorm life experience. And it's a great option to be able to do that, to take classes part-time and at your own pace. So our community colleges offer a lot of different tracks. We call them pathways. And we create that pathway for you to go through community college and then right into our program. So we've worked with them so that all of your prerequisites, when you're earning your associates in teaching, actually just roll right into our program. And when you come to us as a junior in your professional years for your 3rd and 4th year, you'll take all of your classes. They are all Towson University classes. You are a Towson University student. Towson ID, Towson swag. We give you all sorts of fun stuff. And all of your classes are taught here. So you're at Universities at Shady Grove in MCPS. A huge benefit to that and a really unique opportunity is that because you're staying here, our partnership and what we work really closely with Brittany for is all of your clinical experiences, all of your internships, all happen in Montgomery County Public Schools. So that's really unique. And our faculty happens to be, you have a mix of Towson faculty as well as faculty from MCPS. So what we love about that in this partnership is that when you graduate, you will be trained in CKLA, you will be trained in Eureka and all the curriculums that MCPS uses, and you're ready to go because you spent time doing that. Whether you are in early childhood education, earning a degree certification from birth through grade 3, or our other pathway, which is elementary and special education, where you get certified in 2 areas, and that's in elementary grades 1 through 6. So you could teach elementary or middle school, or special education, which covers all grades. So a lot of different opportunities, really great experiences. The one piece I left out with Montgomery College, I know because you guys are in high school, I really advise you to start looking at some of our dual enrollments in our early college. There are great partnerships that Montgomery College has with MCPS to help you. We're talking a lot about money and the cost of college. That will also factor because you can take those classes while you're in high school. Okay. An additional pathway that we also offer is if you want to become a paraeducator. And that's really unique to our program. We've got a really exciting pathway now where you could earn your associates in teaching from a community college, be hired by MCPS as a paraeducator, and then go to school part-time for 3 years. So you earn your benefits, you earn a salary, you're staying within the MCPS school system, And then you're taking classes with Towson in the evenings for some of your content classes, and then all of your field experiences and clinical experiences will happen at your work location. So we send a supervisor to you, and it just kind of keeps everyone in that education world. And at the same time, we're able to offer that with incredible benefits. Our first couple of cohorts have all been, their tuition has been completely covered through different scholarships and grants. I'm very hopeful that that will continue with all the new grants and initiatives that we're working on. So lots of really cool programs. You know, and we know you're MCPS student, or you're in high school, you're looking at this now. What does that look like for you? And it's, you know, not too late. You know, you want to start thinking about those next steps.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jennifer. That's
sure.
exactly, yeah, that's perfect. So, so we kind of heard about, so as a high school student, you're thinking about going to college, you want to be a teacher, right? So that, that sort of MCPS, pathway that we just talked about is like, you're going to, at the end of your TAM years, you're going to take the para-pro, and you qualify at that point to become a para. And so let's just say maybe you want to stay close to home and get a job as a para educator in, you know, in Montgomery County public schools or another school system. What that is, how that's a pathway to teaching is that as a para, number one, you're getting to know a school system, you're getting to know principals, you're getting to know teachers, you're getting to know grade levels, you're getting to know the students levels, so that you can firsthand understand where you want to end up as a teacher, right? And so as a para, it is a really great opportunity to kind of pre-teaching, similar to your internships that you have in high school with your TAM program or with your CDA programs. You are getting some time in the classroom to figure out, like, do you really want to be a teacher? Do you want to work in first grade? You've always wanted to be a first grade teacher because your favorite teacher was first grade. Well, when you get to first grade, maybe you realize that you would rather do fourth grade or fifth grade or even middle school. So that time in the classroom is just really, really, really worth it. So, and that also gives you sort of, you know, it starts you in a school system. Like I said, it starts you in the environment that you want to, you know, definitely end up in later, right? So I think that when students graduate high school and they're thinking about, you know, viable ways to either work and go to school, or, you know, maybe there are other, you know, other criteria. You need to stay close to home for whatever the reasons are. Becoming a para is 100% a recommendation and something that I would suggest for you, because it is along the path of becoming a teacher. So that's kind of that. Is what, you know, Brittany and Jennifer really, you know, are speaking to. There are so many resources. You know, Jennifer said that there are county county partnerships with, you know, the surrounding counties. So it's not just Montgomery County. There's like Frederick County and Howard County and all those schools, wherever you might be watching this and sitting there and listening to us do this. There's something in your county that definitely could transfer over to a program like this. And Montgomery County has a wonderful professional development, you know, program. Where they do this para to teacher, you know, this para to teacher pathway, right? And so that is not, I mean, I'd like to say that it is all and only Montgomery County, but it is not only Montgomery County that does that. There are some other counties that also offer really wonderful para to teacher programs and certification routes. So this is just to open your eyes. If you're on the Eastern Shore right now, which I know some of you are, you're thinking, oh, this is great in Montgomery County, but what do we have here? There are definitely avenues there in this same realm, like becoming a para and then getting your degree to, you know, to further become a teacher. So just keep that in mind. So you're also thinking, okay, we'll get to Ellen in a second. She's the jump where you go, right? You know, some people think this is the standard way to become a teacher. You graduate high school and you go to a four-year college, right? Like that's the standard and only way, you know, really that people think about college and going to become a teacher. But there's another way that I want to bring up that I think is really, really interesting and valid, and really also prepares you for coming out of high school and being able to work, you know, at a job that is going to pay you while you're continuing your education, or you may decide that you want to stay in this realm. And this is the Child Care Professional Development Fund. And then we have Alyssa with us today to talk about that. And Alyssa is from Harford County. So some of you guys are from Harford County, but this Professional Development Fund is a statewide initiative. It's a statewide program. So, Alyssa, if you wouldn't mind answering the question, can you briefly describe the program, the organization, and your role, and the role that it plays in supporting future teachers, and then what makes your program unique? That would be wonderful.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. I was
Sure,
just
thanks.
quickly, I have a student that's in my program who's currently working in childcare, and she's texting me, do you have a link? And so I just resent her the email. She works full-time in childcare, and she actually just had a baby herself, so she has a lot going on. And she could only get away for a few minutes. So if we see her come on, Ariana, maybe we can let her share her experience right after me, and then she can get back to her classroom. That'd be great. So I am Alyssa Ursum, and as Shannon mentioned, I work at Harford Community College, and I also work at Cecil College. My position is grant funded, as is the funding that comes to students, and I work 20 hours a week at each college. So currently the CCC PDF program is offered at 24 colleges and universities statewide, many community colleges, and I think there's about 6 or 7 four-year colleges and universities, and we're currently serving 422 students. So the CCC PDF grant provides tuition assistance for childcare providers who work at least 10 hours a week in a licensed Maryland childcare center or as a licensed home provider. So it's not really a grant designed for your traditional high school student, but as we all know, many of our high school seniors are finished most of their curriculum early and have a bulk of their day free to work. So you only need 10 hours a week. So even if you were doing a traditional college prep program senior year and you're there until 2:30, all you really need is 2 hours, 5 days a week. So if you work that 3 to 5 or 4 to 6 shift that all childcare providers are, in need of, because they're, the people that have been there since 6 in the morning are anxious to go home, I encourage you to look into that. You have to come into the grant with a position already, and you need to work for 1 full year by the time you apply. The application window is January 1st to March 1st every year. So technically you should be employed for 1 full year by the time you apply. March 1st is the latest, but I will tell you that they have given some leeway, because by the time they process the applications and everything goes through, you wouldn't be eligible to start classes until fall semester, which is usually the last week of August every year. So if you can get a job by August of the year before you start your senior year, you would be eligible by the time you graduate. You'd have to apply, like I said, January 1st to March 1st. But if your employment letter states that you have been employed since August of the prior year, they will let that go through. So that's kind of a nice perk for that. Volunteering doesn't count. Babysitting doesn't count. We get those questions all the time. Has to be a licensed Maryland child care center or a home care. So there are some home care providers that need some after school help or need extra people sometimes. So working in a home would also qualify you. And you cannot be listed as a substitute or a floater. So it's the easiest way to say what you can't be. And that's something that new students come in, or I should say new applicants come in, and it would be appealing to put you in a floater position or a substitute position to start out. But you need to be called an aide, or, it needs to be a lead teacher, assistant aide, something else, not a substitute or a floater. And I always offer to students to help explain that to the director when they're getting their job, if that's an issue. So I think, did I answer?
You did.
Everything? Okay.
You did. I think that the most recent Shannon McKenzie that popped on is probably your student. I have something to add to that. So one of the things that's happening right now in TAM and in the CDA is you're getting placed for your internships, right? So if you were to get yourself into a paid, if you were to be hired on as a staff member for your internship. So in my case, when I was teaching a pathway in Montgomery County, and I was doing what many of your teachers do right now with you as a pathway teacher, I would place students into licensed Maryland child care centers, and they would be hired on as aides in high school. That would be basically like a paid internship, right? They would work after school, or they would work during the hours that time. So theoretically, as long as you were hired on as an employee of that organization, and in many cases it was Georgetown Hill, that was close to us, they were hired on. And so their 1 year of experience kind of was their senior year. So they were ready to start the CC, the acronym, the Child Care Professional Development Fund, by the time they actually graduated high school, which was really great. The other thing is that even if you don't, even if I have a question about this, Alyssa, too, even if you didn't get hired on officially, is your internship year, could your internship year count as long as they were with a licensed provider, or a licensed center, or do they have to be listed on their payroll?
I would have to check into that. If they are doing all the duties, I think I heard something about this, but I would have to confirm. So I get questions like this all the time. So if that's your situation, just reach out to me. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat, and I'll also put a link to the website for more information. And I gave Shannon some extra resources. So feel free to reach out to me, and I can check the answer to that. As long as they're performing all the duties, I don't see why that would not work. And certainly I would advocate for you. But if it's considered part of your academic program and you're getting credits for it, that might be a gray area. So yeah, I'd have to inquire.
So there's going to be some changes too with how our internships, apprenticeships work in the next year or so. But yeah, we'll definitely. So if you have a question about your time that you've done in your internship, either for TAM or for the CDA, I know you have to get so many hours, right? So that those hours should really, I think, as long as you're with a licensed facility, they should really count for you. So there's probably something that we can work out with that. So I think it looks like Ariana Tilley is here. And is that your student, Alyssa? I can't hear you. I'm sorry. You muted. Alyssa, are you muted?
I am. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And I see you answered your own question about the name of the program.
I did.
Ariana cannot unmute, I guess, per her regulations until exactly 1:30. So
okay. Okay.
If it's okay, if we can watch the clock, and if she could, once she comes on screen, we can let her share about her experience in CCCPF, and then she may get back to her work, or she may be able to listen on mute. I think it might be nap time. But okay. I did want to share one more thing that's important. I'm not sure if we're going to come back to some of this, but while you need to be working in a licensed child care center for 10 hours a week while you are getting your degree, once you complete your degree, there is a service commitment required. So because the State Department of Education is paying for your education, they're going to ask for you to stay in the field of childcare for 24 months or 1 month per credit, whichever is less, once you graduate. And at that point, you need to work 20 hours a week in a licensed Maryland childcare. So once you get your degree, the requirement is 20 hours. And if you leave the state of Maryland or the field of childcare for any reason, the State Department of Education will ask for you to pay the money back that they paid on your behalf, unless you have good cause. There's about 5 good cause clauses that include personal illness, death in the family, etc. So it's important that you're serious about this, and you have plans to stay in the state and in the field, so that you don't end up owing a lot of money. And at the community colleges, it's about $10,000. Right now, it's about $10,000 to complete the roughly 60 credits. And it looks like Ariana's on, so we can go to her. Thanks for coming, Ariana.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Ariana. So it looks like you are part of the Child Care Career and Professional Development Fund through Harford County, over in Harford County. So could you just share with us why you chose this, this grant or this fund to pursue your education?
Yes, of course. So I actually found out about this grant from my job, actually. They sent out a flyer, and I was like, well, I could really use the financial help to start paying for the courses, and it really just has been beneficial overall for paying through it pays for almost all of my courses. It's been really beneficial to have more income for this and stop using taking out loans for school and racking up those loans and having to pay them back. So the grant has been very helpful for my situation.
Okay,
Uh,
great.
yeah.
And how old, or like, when did you decide you wanted to become a teacher? So when, like, did you decide where you were in high school?
I actually did not. I actually did not think I'd ever want to work with kids after going through high school, elementary school, etc. I just never really, it wasn't ever really a thought. One day I started babysitting and I was like, wow, I kind of really enjoy being around kids, maybe just not older kids. I really enjoyed being with like the littles. So I was 18 or 19 when I first entered childcare. I work at the Goddard School. I honestly thought I was just going in and playing with kids, and it turned out it's lesson planning and there's implementing things. There's different IEPs that I go through. It was a lot different than I thought, and I just turned out to really enjoy it. And I've been here for almost 4 years.
Nice. Well,
Yes.
congratulations. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
that we won you over
You
from the
did.
other
I got one
from the other
over.
side.
Yeah.
We won you over from the non-teaching side over to the teaching side.
Yes.
So what are your what is your long-term goal? What is the Child Care Fund helping you achieve? Like, what is your long-term goal as a teacher?
I'm still figuring that out if I want to go out into public schools, but I really do think I'm gonna stay in early childhood. I think I found my groove. I've found my the age group that I love working with. So I think I want to eventually maybe open a own daycare of my own. I've been thinking about it, but I'm not sure yet. I do like not being in charge of everything, just kind of my own little classroom. So right now I'm on the teeter of where I'm gonna go, but definitely staying within the childcare area.
Nice, nice. An entrepreneur, a business owner. I love that.
Yeah.
We need more, child care centers and child cares across Maryland. I know everyone can agree on that. So that would be a wonderful thing for you to do. I do really appreciate you taking time out of your workday to join us. You can hang on. I don't know how much time you have, but we might have a question for you or two from the students that are watching, that are out there in internet world. But before we open it up to questions, I want to offer one more opportunity that I think is just amazing from the state of Maryland. And Ellen Spokes from CollegeBound is here to talk to us about that. Her organization is not necessarily tied to this opportunity, but she does do a really good job of sharing this information. And this information is the Maryland Teaching Fellows. Let me get it perfectly right. The Teaching Fellows for Maryland Scholarship is what it is. And what this is this. Yeah. Oh, it's a little out of focus. Yeah. So what this is a track for that traditional thinking, right? Where you were thinking going right from high school to a four-year university. And so, Ellen, if you could just talk to us a little bit about the Maryland Teaching Fellows Scholarship, that would be great.
Sure. So welcome from Baltimore City. For those of you that don't know, the CollegeBound Foundation is a nonprofit community-based college access program that empowers Baltimore City school students specifically to successfully pursue and complete a college degree or other post-secondary options. And I work in the Department of Strategic Partnerships. So we work with private, with other nonprofit organizations, with companies, businesses, in ways to support our students. And my position here at CollegeBound, one of the hats I wear is working on a teacher pipeline initiative to encourage our Baltimore City students to consider entering the teaching profession, working through the TAM programs here, but also sort of more widely in some of our other Baltimore City high schools, public high schools. So I have been actively promoting the Teaching Fellows for Maryland Scholarship, which is provided by MHEC, the Maryland Higher Education Commission. It is a non-need-based primarily merit scholarship that is available by applying through MHEC. So if a student is applying for financial aid and they've established their MD-CAPS account, which is the platform through which you apply for Maryland state aid. It is one of the options for scholarships that is provided through the state that could potentially pay for 100% of tuition, room, and board for a student who is interested in pursuing teaching as a career. The commitment, sort of like the child care program, is teaching for teaching 2 years following graduation from college. But beyond that, there's no other commitment. And it's accepted at all of the certified education programs in public institutions across the state of Maryland, and also a group of private colleges in Maryland as well. And as I said, students would apply. High school students, if you're online or on the call, you would apply through your MD-CAPS account in the One app, which is one section of that application. I have a PowerPoint that can walk you through step by step, and Shannon, I'm happy to send it to you for anyone who wants that. It's super easy. You apply through the One app, and then there's an essay requirement, and then there's also a form that has to be filled out by the college or university where the student is committing to attend, just certifying that they've been accepted to that school. And that is it. And then it's on a rolling basis as to whether or not you receive the scholarship from the state.
That is amazing. So I hope that sunk into you guys. That is paid, 100% paid scholarship from the state of Maryland to attend college for free to become a teacher. So that brings me to the two guests that I have that are actually Maryland teaching scholars. They have been awarded this scholarship at Towson University. And so I would love to just bring them on camera and tell you guys a little bit about either why they chose to apply for the college, so Jenna and Kathleen, you can kind of speak to maybe how hard was it? Was it, difficult process, or, why you chose to do it, and, just something about the scholarship that you think high school students would love to hear to make them, really understand and want to apply for this scholarship. So Jenna, why don't you go first? Oh, sorry. And it's Jenna Jean from Towson University, and Kathleen Wilson from Towson. So Jenna, go ahead first and so again, you're talking to high school students that are just like trying to figure out how do they pay for college. What would you recommend about this scholarship?
Yeah, of course. So to give you guys a quick background, my name is Jenna. I'm currently a sophomore at Towson studying to be a middle school teacher. And love my middle school age, guys. Yeah, so the Teaching Fellow Scholarship, I applied for that in my senior year of high school. And yeah, it's just been like an amazing opportunity because when we said it covers everything, literally everything, room, board, your meal plans. If you're a commuter, they cover your gas and your parking. And it's really just a huge weight off your shoulders too, knowing you won't have any debts when you graduate from college, as long as you fulfill that 2-year requirement, which for me, when I was a senior in high school and my parents were like, oh, you need to go straight into college. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. I don't want to end up $100,000 in debt. That's terrifying. And so part of the reason I ended up applying for the scholarship was because I went through a teaching career pathway in my high school. So that certified me to I passed the parapro exam. I got to student teach elementary school, which props to everyone who wants to do the younger grades. Ariana, power to you. I can't do anything under 4th grade. But yeah, that helped me figure out oh, I actually really do love working with kids. I love coming up with lesson plans. I love getting to talk with them and bring out their personalities. And that helped me decide, okay, I think I could be a teacher and I would enjoy it. And if I ended up going through my program, figuring out maybe this isn't for me, it's only for 2 years. And so it just ended up being a wonderful opportunity that kind of fit all my niches, where I love getting to teach English and history, and I'll just get to do that with my middle schoolers.
Perfect. Thank you, Jenna. And both of these ladies are TAM graduates. So they both went to TAM programs in their high school. So those of you that are TAM, just know that these two students had also done the TAM program. So Kathleen, can you share with us why this scholarship is helping you, and how, what made you decide to apply for it, and how it's helping you now that you're in college?
Hi, my name is Kathleen Wilson. I am a junior and middle school education major with the concentrations of social studies and English. The reason why that I chose to apply for the Maryland Teacher Scholarship is like because I always knew I wanted to be a teacher since I was little, and I was like worried about how I'm gonna pay for college. I did apply for many other scholarships along with the Teaching Fellow Scholarship. And like that really helped like get like my options, especially depending on what college I wanted to go to. Like so I could be able to pay for things like books and that type of stuff. So like once I got the scholarship, I was very, very happy and grateful because I was able to like relieve the financial burden that I may have had to worry about if I have to work while I'm at school. So it just like makes me like prioritize focusing on my studies and like just making me like just like not have to worry about extraneous factors when it comes to paying for college and taking out loans and that type of stuff. And also I want to add with like when it comes to the TAM program, depending on what college you go to, like the TAM program has like a like the TAM program has agreements with certain colleges where you can either get like a class waive or scholarship money, or like you can get both or either or depending on what college that you go to. I like in here in Maryland. So like for example, Towson, we have a class waiver, a 3 credit class waiver, as well as a $500 scholarship per semester up to 4 years. So which also helps like relieve the financial thing. And then there's other scholarships through I applied through like the some private scholarships that my senior year that sometimes your guidance counselor can provide for you. And then you just apply. I would suggest apply to as much scholarships and grants that you can, or like and just like see if you can get it. And I also got a couple like 2 scholarships my freshman year for the first semester from the Maryland State Delegates. That's also one way to also pay to help pay for college too. And that's like help like just like I should just apply to as much scholarships and grants that you can.
I think that's amazing. Really good advice, like super, super good advice. Apply for everything. So we're talking about paying for college. Just apply. As you just never know, who's applied or who hasn't applied. I used to get college scholarship opportunity sent to me as a high school teacher in the pathway saying, hey, I'm in charge of this foundation and we haven't gotten anyone to apply yet. Have your students apply. And I would be like, man, you guys got to apply for this. Nobody's applied. So yes, apply like crazy. Ariana, you have your hand raised?
Can you hear me?
Yep, got
Okay,
you.
yeah. I actually had a question for your 2 students, Jenna and Kathleen, sorry.
Kathleen.
Are those well for you too, the grants that you guys are talking about, are they available for myself, like the position that I'm in as well, or is that something separate?
I think like it's like would you want to get your bachelor's degree in early childhood, I believe.
Okay,
That's to my knowledge, that's like
okay.
so.
Yeah, it's also for people who want to pursue a graduate degree too. So I have the application pulled up right now where they say an individual who has been employed as a teaching assistant at a public school or public pre-kindergarten program in Maryland for at least 2 years may apply and is eligible to hold the scholarship as full-time or part-time undergrad or grad school.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
So Ellen, do you know if it's eligible for students that are like a couple years out of high school, or is it just high school seniors?
No. You can apply while you're in college.
Okay,
So
perfect.
because some students don't know until their, sophomore year what they're going to major in. So yes, it's available.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Jenna, did you have another thing you wanted to share?
Yes, so on that topic, of like applying after you're already in college, like they'll pay like retroactively. Like if you're like maybe in your spring semester freshman year and you just found out like, oh, this scholarship exists, let me apply for it, and you get it, they'll cover your freshman year back for you, which
Wow.
is also because I know a lot of my other friends who are education majors also went and applied for the scholarship. And going back to Kathleen's advice of applying for as many scholarships as possible, solid advice. And also note, like, you're not doing this by yourself either. Like, I know applying for scholarships can be very stressful. And like, if you have like a lot of essays you have to write for them, you're like, where do I even start? Like, please know, like, there are people to help you, whether it's like your English teachers in high school, like a friend or parent, or even if like if you go to look up like local writing centers for like local college campuses, we help. Like I work at the writing center for Towson and we help high school students apply for scholarships and just whatever they need. So just want you guys to know, I know it is a very stressful, very scary time, but you will be okay. And there are people here to help you and who want you to succeed.
Yeah, I agree with that. Please ask for help. Don't just, don't flounder around out there thinking you're in this all by yourself. Your pathway teachers, I know I've helped many students kind of focus in on a topic that they wanted to write about. So your pathway teachers are here for you. I'm here for you. You are part of this Maryland Teacher Pathway grant. So you could reach out to me and I can certainly help too. But there are writing centers even in high schools and colleges, and all of them would really be supportive in helping you with your college application and your college essays that you need to write for your applications. Kathleen, you had something you wanted to share?
Yeah, and I also wanted to add, I know that Educators Rising, at least through Towson, they do have a scholarship that you can apply for like 1 semester. That was one of the scholarships that I applied for. I applied for, I would say around five scholarships. I only got like a few plus the Maryland Teacher Fellowship. And then with the Maryland Teacher Fellowship, it was consistent. It was like and like that's the only scholarship that I really have, which I'm very thankful for. So I could just like not like worry about, oh, I have to like I have to like choose what housing I want to be in the cheapest housing. Oh, do I have to do the lowest meal plan, that type of stuff. And just having that consistency will also help. And then even if like you apply for like a $500 scholarship, it can help with books because books in college are expensive, especially depending on what classes that you're taking. And it's just having that opportunity to just apply. Because for example, like there was a video that I watched of like this high school senior. She applied to for many scholarships and she got like almost like $1 million worth of scholarships from many different universities because you never know. You can apply for like the Coca-Cola Foundation, Dunkin' Donuts, like any professional group that you're part of, Educators Rising. If you're like depending on if you're part of the honor society, they also have honor opportunities to apply for scholarships because like no matter what, there's always opportunities to go find to apply for scholarships. So I just look at any organization that you're part of. Like if you're part of Girl Scouts or like Boy Scouts, I'm sure they have scholarships for people who want to go to college. Like and it doesn't have to be like specifically major based, it's just general. So just apply as much as you can.
Really good advice. So I'm going to ask students, I'm going to get to you, Jenna, in just 1 second. I'm going to ask the students to go ahead and start dropping questions in the chat or coming off of mute. Some of you that are watching from a classroom, you might have to go up to your teacher's computer and come off of mute to ask questions so that we can really, hone in on what your concerns are, what your questions are, and to see if we can help answer those. And Jenna, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, one quick thing I wanted to add about the teaching fellows. So we talked earlier how it's like the condition is you have to teach for 2 years. So it depends where you teach. So you have to teach at a Title I school, which means about majority of the kids are on free or reduced priced meals, which means most of the students are coming from like a low income, underserved background. So that's something I want to put out there because not all schools are Title I, especially depending whether you want to teach elementary, middle, or high school. There's usually more elementary or middle schools that are Title I over high schools. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking where you might want to teach when you come back home, because depending on your area, there might not be as many Title I schools as there would be in another county. So just be conscientious of that when you're kind of planning for after graduation.
Very good. Very good point. Yes. And I I personally feel that everyone should teach in a Title I school at some point in their career. So I feel like that's a really solid thing for the scholarship to do, is to have you go back and teach at least a few years in a Title I school. Who knows, you may end up falling in love with it, like many people do. But it is definitely a consideration. So you do need to think about that. Like if you're planning to go back to your county to teach, then you need to make sure there are some Title I schools in that county that you would, be able to teach at. And I think in every county there are Title I schools, so you're not going to have a hard time finding them, and you certainly won't have a hard time finding a job. As far as the teaching career goes, you guys are going to be employed. Like, right now you're going to be employed, so we need you, so definitely don't worry about job security, because we need you and you'll be employed. So just know that if you're going back to a small county, you might have to teach in just a couple of those counties that are the Title I schools. All right, and it looks like we have someone out in Mrs. Robinson's class that has a question, so please introduce yourself and then ask us your question.
Hi, my name is Kamor Stanley Guzman, and I am a senior for Miss Robinson's class, the Teacher Academy program. And I just had a question for the teacher, the Maryland Teachers Fellow Scholarship. I was wondering, do I have to teach at a certain school, or like for those 2 years, or could I like pick my own school, long as it's public school?
I can answer it. You have to work at a Title I school, like what Jenna said, for the 2 years. And like depending on like what county that you're from, and they may not have label Title I, but like they do meet that requirement. For example, I know because I'm from Howard County, and some of the middle schools and high schools are not identified as Title I, but they do meet the requirement. So mostly elementary schools, at least in Howard County, like are identified as Title I, while middle schools and high schools like do not have the a label of it, but they do meet that requirement. So it just varies based on your county.
And a Title I school, just so you
Okay.
understand what a Title I school is, it's a school that's majority of the students get free and reduced lunches or meals. So it's kind of a statistic that you can find when you look at their website to find out if they are a Title I school. I know in Montgomery County there are something called focus schools. They also can qualify for the criteria. They also have a higher rate of free and reduced meals, but maybe not the highest as like a Title I. So they don't quite meet the Title I criteria, but in Montgomery County that counts as well. So there's probably across the counties and different county systems, they have it. You would just have to ask like whoever's hiring you, like a HR person or somebody in that county, that you want to go to one of those schools because of your scholarship.
And I just have one more question.
Sure.
So for Jenna, so I know she said that she teaches middle school. She wants to teach middle school. So for the scholarship, would it have to be a specific grade? Because I would like to teach math specifically. So,
Yeah, so it depends on like whatever school you're applying to, what their program is. So for Towson, we have so many. We have early childhood, elementary, special education, middle school, and then secondary, which is so it's just like the variability of grade levels. So for example, with the middle school major, you can do two content areas for Towson. So I'm doing English and social studies, but you could do like math and social studies, math and English, or if you wanted to teach high school, you would just major in math with a concentration in secondary ed.
Kathleen, you have something to add to that?
Yes, and like if you want to teach specifically math, Towson University have the You Teach program, which is is designed to help people who want to teach anything in the STEM field. So math, earth space science, biology, chemistry, they'll put you into the classroom starting your freshman year, and then like to get like the feel of it, and then you're going to be having specifically STEM related education classes, and then once you get into the program officially, you'll be starting your part-time and then your full-time internship. So you will get your major in mathematics, for example, and then you have your certification in like the in in education, and you'll be able to teach 7th to 9th. I mean, no, 7th to 12th grade. But there's a really high need for math teachers and science teachers, and so like you will definitely get hired. So like just as long as you meet the requirements as to consider a Title I school, or where the student population receive 50% or more free or reduced meals, you'll be fine. You'll definitely be fine.
Perfect. Thank you for asking your questions. There was a question in the chat that says, does this apply for the Towson program at HCC? And I'm not sure which program we were talking about. Maybe it was, I'm not sure.
Are you referring to the satellite campus, Towson Northeast in Harford County?
I think that they must have been referring to that, but I don't know which program they were talking about. If they were talking about your program or if they were talking about, whoever.
I can just speak to that really quickly. So Towson Northeast does have the same partnership with Harford County. So they do have early childhood special ed and elementary special ed. So you can, and the same para, if you want to become a paraeducator and follow that pathway, they do also offer that there.
Perfect. I think it was Emily. So hopefully, Emily, that answers your question. So, we're about done with time. Please drop any questions you have in the chat or come off of mute. But what I just want to say to you guys is, thank you for joining us today. Number one, everybody, all of my guest speakers, students, thank you for taking the time. Ariana for coming out of work, and Kathleen and Jen, I know you're busy in college and internships. I really appreciate you guys showing up. Thank you guys so much for sharing your information. But as high school students, I just want you to consider sort of all of these avenues you have. You don't have to jump right from high school to, on campus 4 years at Towson or Salisbury. There are other routes for you to go, right? So you can go to the community college and stay close to home. You can go to community college and save money. You can get a job as a paraprofessional and be working part-time and have, the school system pay for your degree. You can work at a childcare center like Ariana, and you can get your degree paid that way. So there are so many options for you. And really, I would tell my students in my pathway all the time, you don't have to go into debt. I know somebody said that was a big fear of theirs. You don't have to go into debt to be a teacher, right? You do not. Right now, we need teachers so badly that we're almost paying you to become a teacher, essentially, right? So if you want to be a teacher, please look at all of these avenues and consider them. And if you have any questions about any of these things, certainly we can reach out to me. You are part of the Maryland Teacher Pathway Program. Your teacher knows how to reach me, and I know how to reach all of these amazing people. So that document that I shared, that planning document, has the links. I got a couple more links from people that were sharing in the chat and added them to the important links section there. So that document I will send it out to your teachers again, and anybody that missed this meeting, I will send this out to them as well so they can watch this video. But I really, promise that there are ways for you to pay for college, right? So you do not have to worry, and you can focus on your education, and you can focus on being the best teacher possible when you get out of college. And that is, I think, one of the things that Kathleen and Jenna really spoke to, is that this allows them to focus on their academics. This having this opportunity of having the Teaching Fellow Scholarship allows them not to have to work a full-time job or part-time job, so they can focus on their education. They can do a great job. They can they can be fully invested in their internship, their student teaching years. And that is really just amazing. So please consider, your options and apply for scholarships, right? I think that's a message here. Apply for as many as you possibly can. So as long as there's no more questions, how many hours working at a Title I school do I need to qualify for the scholarship? So what will happen is, after you graduate from, with your teaching degree, and you'll go to work for a school system in a Title I school. Let's say you get hired at Montgomery County Public Schools, and you're placed at, I'll just make up a school, Germantown Elementary School, and you're placed at Germantown Elementary School. It meets the criteria. That's your full-time teaching job, and you work, full-time. Like, so you're going to be a teacher, an active, full-time teacher, as long as that school system meets that criteria, the Title I school, then you're meeting the criteria for the 2 years. Ellen isn't here, and I don't know that anybody goes to work part-time after this. Most people, I think, go into a full-time teaching position, but there are part-time teaching positions sometimes available in school systems. So my guess would be that you would just have to maybe work 4 years instead of 2 to kind of qualify. But I can get that answer for you. If Miss Robinson wants to let me know who asked that question, I can make sure I ask about that and find out if that extends your time working. Like if you only wanted to work part-time. Most of the time, once you get out of college, you go into a school system and work full-time in that school system. And to kind of pay back for the grant, you just have to work the 2 years inside that school. And then you could go to work for, I mean, you probably fall in love with that school, I have to tell you. But if for some reason you want to switch schools, after 2 years, you can switch to, Germantown. I mean, you can switch from Germantown to, I don't even know, Cabin Branch or something like that. You switch to a different school that doesn't necessarily meet the Title I criteria. Any others that I'm missing in there? So thank you guys so much for popping into this video and for all of this support. My partners out there, thank you. Thank you for what you do, and you're doing amazing work getting more teachers for us, and I really appreciate that. And my students, Jenna, Kathleen, and Ariana, keep doing the good work. I know you're going to make amazing teachers, and we need more people like you. So everybody tell your friends that they should be teachers. It's the best job in the world, I promise. All right, I will say goodbye and hopefully see you on the next student-to-student session.